there, viewers. Welcome back to the Self-Made Auto Channel. Got us a 2006 Honda. It's the Accord. It's got the big 2.4. No crank. All it does is click, 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 click. It's been in storage for a while. Guy's been storing it. The people own it come back to get it. He popped a new battery in it several months ago and has been starting and driving it since until the owners come to pick the car up. That's the story. Naturally, they come in today to get the car from his place and nothing happened. It just clicked. So he thought the battery was bad, put the charger on it, set it to boil, still didn't start, towed it here, and here we are. And it clicks, and I said, well, it sounds like a bad starter, lady. You just need a starter, not a big deal. It's a Honda, so you got to pull the air plenum off, the intake off, not a big deal, easy job. I got that off, and there was something inside me that said, there, don't make assumptions because you're going to look like an a-hole. And good thing I checked it. Let me show you. We have some voltage drop. And I'm always preaching this to you guys. I'm like, preach it, boy, that you got to check your voltage drop. And fortunately for me, I did, because I would have looked like a big old dummy and it would have cost me a $300 out-of-pocket starter. So let's have a look. I'll show you where I'm at. You have to bear with me with our crude testing method. So on Hondas, they're quite difficult to check the starter because when the intake manifold's on here, you can't see anything. You can't see the starter. You can't get to nothing. So better safe than sorry. Although everything looks good, you know, battery terminals, batteries obviously up to snuff. I've just got the charger on it over here. Bring it up the rest of the way. I'll turn that off so you guys can hear. I unhooked the exciter for the solenoid, which goes right there, and then we have our battery cable that goes right there. They all look good. They look clean. Hallelujah. Let me grab a test light here. I'm going to grab our test light. We're going to hook the battery negative. The test light, we'll get that clamped on there. Okay. We come down, and we have voltage here at the starter. I don't know if you guys can see it, but at least enough to light a test light anyways. So this is a 500 milliamp test light. And then just wanted to verify that my starter is junk, so I'm just plugging in here. I didn't want to do it with the car because I didn't want to turn the key on and set a zillion codes, so I just come up in here with a jumper wire. And then when you hit the key in the car, it sends, 12 volts down here. Well, let me get it on the terminal. So there we are. So we hear the starter solenoid clicking, but nothing's happening. We've already checked it. We have power here, but nothing's happening. So we can have voltage loss on the ground side, and we can have voltage loss on the power side. Now, if we're losing voltage on the ground side, when we click this, the test light would light if we had a bad ground. Okay, and then voltage drop on the power side, we have voltage loss here to the point it won't crank. Our test light would go out when we attempt to crank it. So hopefully you guys can see that. Uh-oh, look at that. So every time I try to start it, we lose all of our available voltage down there. But Eric, it lights the test light nice and bright. It sure does. But remember, that starter is going to take about 200 amps. This takes about 750 milliamps. So pretty interesting, and also glad that I decided to double check. So where's the problem? Well, that's to be determined. I don't know. I'm just showing you that if you're not doing voltage drop, in this case we did it with a test light instead of a meter, but if we stick a meter from positive to positive, what do you expect to see? Well, in a perfect world, if the starter worked, it would be zero because there would be no difference from this positive to this positive. But let's grab a meter. I'll show you real quick how to do it with a meter. And what we're going to see, I suspect, is going to be battery voltage. Hoping you guys can see the meter there. So our meter right now is going from positive terminal to positive terminal. And what do we have? 0.0000, which it should be. There's no potential difference here, and there's no current flow, so therefore there should be no voltage drop. When we crank the engine over, it should also remain close to zero. But what do we have? 12 volts and dropping. 11.9, oops, and here's our voltage drop. I just saw the smoke. So we have, that's great. That's a good test. We saw the smoke. So yeah, That's wonderful. We have full battery voltage drop, complete disconnection, and then we also probably know where our problem is now. Again, for you guys who didn't see it, 12 volts. Oh, I hear something boiling. Let's find voltage drop with letting her sizzle. Always remember, folks, I've described this in the past. Think of your voltmeter, your DVOM, as these are just pressure differential testers. What's the pressure difference? Our pressure is our voltage. What's our pressure difference from here to there? And when you're going positive to positive or negative to negative, it should be very close to zero, depending on the circuit, of course. Our problem's here, which we luckily found. Oh, I hear some sizzling. Oh, I see smoke. We got smoke here. Oh, yeah. Oh, good. Easy way to find voltage drop. Let her sizzle, baby. Must be corrosion. But that's going to be cheaper than a starter. There's no way to have done that without pulling the intake. Get our test light off here. We have some smoke coming from here. Now I do see that this has an aftermarket terminal on it. Didn't think much of it. You know, the connection's tight. It doesn't look terrible looking at it. These things, these leadless connectors, as they like to call them, don't fit well. I see the hold down's gone. That thing's hotter than a banshee. Let's pull the tape off and see what they were hiding underneath the tape. Oh, that wasn't very epic. Try this again. See what they're hiding underneath the tape. Oh boy. You can't just put a corroded. She's all corroded, friends. Let's have a zoom in. Enhance, 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 unenhance. So there you are, ladies and gentlemen. She's crusty. Girl, you crusty. Oh, nasty. Oh. Somebody tried a little something here. And it didn't work out for them, I'll give it that. There it is. There is your source of voltage drop. Okay? Unenhance. You'll read down in the comment section that everybody would have checked that before they pulled the intake manifold. 100% guarantee you none of you would have checked that before you pull the intake manifold. Car comes in, clicking, sounds like a bad starter. You got to get to the starter to make the test. You don't just start untaping harnesses looking for a problem. Alright, thought you guys would enjoy this. I certainly did. That's fun. Let's open this one up. Because this one's looking just as nasty. Now this one just goes over to the power distribution center, or whatever Honda calls it. The fuse box. Come on, baby. There's that one. And it ain't looking any prettier. How come I didn't have the battery unhooked to do the starter? Well, because also wanted a New York State inspection, so I was going to do it hot. Not anymore, lady. Not anymore. Looks like we have enough cable here that we should be good, and we should have enough cable here. We don't need to buy new cables. Let's go ahead and see about fixing it. I don't know where the hold down stuff is. I imagine it's here. This is a Southern car, so she's clean as a whip. We got to leave this one alone, folks. It's crusty. I cut several inches off these cables to this point, and there is no saving them. It is finished. It needs new cables. Whether we open up the harness and replace it, or we just order the battery cable harness from Honda, which I'll likely do because we have the intake off, which we need to get to the starter anyways to do it. That's it. Just wanted it to be a lesson for you folks. Don't fall into the trap of it sounds like your starter. It sounds like it needs an alternator, you know, just based off pattern failures. probably 95 times out of 100, you're going to be right. That starter is, yep, you're in the car, click, click, click. You check the battery. Battery's got good voltage. You know, not losing voltage when you're cranking. Headlights are nice and bright. Got to be the starter. That's exactly what it sounded like. And that's what it sounded like to me. I've been doing this a long time. But I've also been doing it long enough to know, take a second, double check. Even when it's a pain in the ass starter like this one to get to, double check it. It only takes a minute. Even if you're not using your voltmeter, you know, if your starter doesn't work at all, doesn't click, doesn't do anything, you can do a voltage drop test here with a carbon pile tester. Hook it on here, hook it on your negative, load up that battery. This cable should be able to hold, you know, 200 amps. Not continually, but you should be able to put at least 100 amps on it and let it just sit there. Had we done that, we would have seen smoke just like we did. Corrosion. Remember, resistance goes up, current goes down, it starts getting a little bit of heat. So we throw the heat to it. Leave me some hot comment down there, folks. Insta, Facebook, you guys know what to do. Just remember, viewers, if I can do it, you can do it. Thanks for watching.